Hello and welcome back to another episode. Now, I have made a little bit of progress, as you have seen from the intro. We have added almost double the size of the forest. Well, I think we pretty much are there. So we have now filled in all of that little terraforming that we did with our trees. So now that's all there. We can then get started on those real world details that will bring this thing to looking from a nice little forest to a really realistic looking detailed forest that we can be happy with, and then we can then continue on expanding because we then figured out the style and all of the other stuff to do with that. So, oh no, I'm not in F5. There we go. So without further ado, let's get back and look at our inspiration for what we need to work on first. So what have we got here that we can look at? If we zoom in, we can see there are a lot of kind of dead trees all at an angle. We can see that there is, that the branches kind of come down quite low. So I think the mistake that I've made in my trees is that we've made it so that there's a bit too much gap in between the floor and the branches. But that is something that we can fix by building a few smaller trees and just lowering those branches all the way down right at the river edge, because of course that's where the sunlight's going to be hitting. As we can also see, it's a lot brighter here in right at the riverbank, so we can brighten those up, change out some of the leaves for azalea ones, make them a bit bushier, and then that'll be our riverbank out there. So let's have a look at some of the other ones that we've got here. This one here we'll go for. Let us open that in a new tab so we can zoom in. Oh, that is a terrible resolution of that. So lots of small little shrubbery bits kind of in and around that bit there. Maybe we haven't made too much of a mistake, as you can see that there is large bits of trunk. So I think we're probably all right with our tree trunk bases. Here we go. There's showing a little bit more. So we can see a little bit inside of the forest, not a whole lot going on. So we've got some roots and stuff spreading out a little bit. Where are we cooking with here? See little bits and bobs here, nothing too much at the edge. This is here, there we go. More of that shrubbery and the smaller trees kind of leaning a little bit in. As we see, these trees actually look a little bit different to the pine ones, so potentially maybe adding in some extra different trees on the riverbank for where those birds potentially come in, and then where they've eaten some seeds somewhere else, and then they've deposited the seeds, or they come down from riverbanks. So there's a lot of different ways that things can get to where they need to be, or where they end up. So the best way for your landscaping to be realistic is by doing as much research as you can and bringing in a lot of principles of what actually happens in the real world. So here, a lovely shot. We can see, yeah, okay, so some of these trees here don't have the leaves on, so that we can infer that this is a wintertime shot by all the leaves on the ground, by all of the leaves not on these trees. And these ones right at the bank are actually different kinds of trees, because they're clearly not evergreen because they've lost their leaves, whereas our pines are the evergreen, the coniferous ones, and then our non-coniferous or deciduous woodland right on the edge. Keep looking at our riverbank here. Some rocks kicking about on the inside and also the outside of our banks and around. So adding in a few little rocks on our riverbed, sticking out next to our line of grass that we're sticking in right at the edge there. So we've got a few little ideas. We've got our grass and our shrubbery here. We've got some rocks kind of in here. And then we've got some slightly different kinds of trees and smaller ones right at the edge, as well as changing the colour of leaves right at the edge of our pine forest to match the sunlight that's coming down. All of our bright azalea leaves are now on the edge of the trees. So now as we're coming through the river, not through the liver, we're not inside anyone. That was weird. So as we're coming down the river, you can see the bright trees right on the edge. And then as we come in a little bit, things get that bit darker on the inside. So I've also added in all of the grass at the water's edge. As you can see, it goes a little bit back in as well in a few places. All of this hand placed. So all of this is by design. So now we need to completely avoid this, especially at night time, as we don't want to do any PvP and accidentally break the grass, which is a shame that could happen. So our next step is going to be adding in a few little rocks in at the river bank here. I'm going to use cobbled deep slate slabs and stairs just to get a little bit of a few rocks in. They're not too much, it's just kind of where the water will come around, push those rocks up against. You won't be able to see all of them, there'll just be a few stairs here and there poking out, and then a few things just under the water that you can't quite see, which then makes up our river shape. River shape? Oh, so much waffle going on. So let's just keep coming through, adding in a few poking out here and there. Nothing too much, as it's not particularly a rocky shoreline. So a few more here and there, just working our way through the mud bits, because I don't want to add any in on the bits where we haven't quite done yet with the mud. So there we go, just a few little bits. Nothing much that has been added, just a little bit here and there, just to kind of add a little something extra. I'm going to go around the back of the island now as well. I think a few more rocks probably get caught back here. So we're going to pop in a few of these. Pop. There we go. I think that'll do. Just for a little bit of extra detail there on the rock, on the edge for the rocks. What I'd like for them to just be the one bit sticking out, but we're going to have to deal with the two. Otherwise because we can't, of course, get the corner stairs in. Okay, so next step, we are moving on greatly. We have done the edge, the river edge. We are now moving into the forest itself. So if we have a look through here, there are some gaps in between where these trees, so that's where the light can reach through. And then we've got to go back to our research to figure out what we need to put in these bits here. And we also need to put some roots down for our trees as well. This image here, hopefully this is going to open nice and big for us. No, of course it doesn't. But we can see that there are some more of those small bushes in our forest here. It's not the same one that we've been looking for, but again, quite mossy there. But I like it where this is the one that we're kind of going for here, with potentially some branches, and it's quite dark. You've got all of the pine needles more so. So we're going to root up a little bit. So maybe some spruce slabs and fences to get just the roots. We're probably going to come in those gaps is where we'll put those smaller bushes like the ones that we've built kind of at the river's edge. Maybe a small tree or two. Some ferns maybe. Potentially we lay out a bit of a path going through. Maybe that's a future thing. There is some grass here, so we might come in and put some grass in. Some fallen trees, good idea as well. So lots of different ideas that we can put in those little gaps to bring the forest floor a bit more to life. There we go, look at this. This is so much nicer than just that coarse dirt everywhere. So everything has been placed with intention. That's what we've got to do to add realism, is placing with intention. So if you look up, you can see there's a gap in the tree. That's why there are greenery and bushes all here. The bigger the gap, the bigger the thing that's in there. So that one's quite a big gap, so it gets a small little tree. Whereas some of the smaller gaps will just have a few little shrubs, like so. And the bigger ones, again, little bushes or trees that just fill things out. I've also added in the little root systems as well, which also just adds that extra little bit of detail to make sure that this isn't just a bland, coarse, dirted up landscape, and it looks so much better for it. So that is our style that we're going with our forest. So we can now take the principles here and expand, and we can take whatever lessons we've learned and we can apply them for the future, because it's all just about constant improvement. Okay, you're never going to be perfect at anything. Always remember to practice, practice, practice. And what does practice make? It makes permanence. So the more you do so, the more it's going to stick in that old head, and the more it's going to stick in so that you can easily do it. So what lessons have I learned? So the lesson I have learned is that we want the smaller trees at the front. So I'm going to lower them down, similar to how I've done so with this one, so that there's a little bit more leaf coverage down at the bottom in the future ones around the edges, and then it goes up into the middle. Okay, so here, prime example, if these were all just 3 or 4 blocks lower, then it would just block a little bit more of the view and it would look a little bit better, not being able to see all the way through. Same again over here, it's a little bit easier because we've got that smaller one in, but those smaller ones, just lowering it down, not changing anything other than that, and that is it, perfect. So we've got one last little fun bit of detail to add in. So let's get the scaffolding. We're going to go high up into the air. Where do we want to go? We want to go, let's go here. Scaffolding, being a pain as always. There we go. So we're going to go up here, and what have I been saying most of the time has been making these trees right down the bottom here, these small ones. What have I been saying? I've been saying it's been the birds. So we're going to add in a few little birds flying around. That's going to be cool. Not parrots, not chickens, not phantoms, but just some of our own little created birds, just flying quite a little ways above the treetops so that we can see them from a distance, and then they look like birds on like a painting. So we're going to go up a few more blocks up to about there, I reckon, maybe, to get our first bird in. Maybe here, actually. Let's go for here. So our bird is going to, of course, be in the style of, you know, however you draw a bird, with its wings and its body in a little bit of a V shape. So that there is our bird shape. Let's just get rid of that. So there's our bird. Quite small, nothing, you know, it looks like nothing from here, but it's all about that perspective, the distance on it. So we're going to fly all the way over this way. Of course, it doesn't help that I'm stood on it. No, it really doesn't help that I'm stood on it. So I am going to drop down into the water, and then now we're going to see it. Hopefully I don't drown. The scaffolding doesn't really help, but you can see there, just that shape up there makes it look like it's a bird flying up in the air. How cool is that? This is, of course, inspired by B-dubs, as everything is with this forest, but it just makes it look so much nicer. Well, it doesn't look so much nicer, it just adds that extra little something. So we're going to add in a little flock of birds, and that will end us off for today. Can we land on it? That's the question. Can we land on it? Ooh, there we go. Some birds just flying over the river. Probably would look better in a formation, but maybe I'll do some bird research in the future as to the formations. Like I said, it's all about that research. So I'm kind of rushing things, so maybe it might not look as good. That sounded funky with all of the scaffolding coming down. Collect up. I'm hyping up the suspense for the big reveal of the birds. There we go. Let's go and grab this. Don't want to lose it. It's not like we're making bamboo and string automatically or anything, and can then put these in the factory at some point. Oh yeah, no, that's cool. That's cool. I mean, potentially we could use more than 6 birds, but oh, that is so cool. That is really cool. Wow. B-dubs, you are a genius. What about from this angle? Yeah, even from this angle, they look cool. I mean, from this angle, not so much. That's definitely the worst angle for them. But any other angle, they're looking really, really nice. Excellent. So I'm very happy with that. Very happy with all of this progress that we've made. Some really good stuff we've done. Really nice detailing. Is there any more that we can add? Always. You can always add more. But at this point here, I'm happy with what we have done. So I'm going to... No, I'm not, because I'm not outroing from this bit, am I? Because instead, you know, if I try an outro, I'm just going to get cut off. Next time, Max does it again. Okay, this one wasn't my fault. This place is loaded in when I'm anywhere else in the world. So how am I meant to know that it's running before I log out? Max goes advancement hunting. Right, okay, is it a bird? Look at a... What? Why is that not... Look at a... Is it a bird? Is it a bird? Yes, it's a bird. Clearly it's a bird. I'm looking at all of them. And sings along with a famous Minecraft song. I am a dwarf and I'm digging a hole. Diggy diggy hole, I'm digging a hole. I am a dwarf and I'm digging a hole. Diggy diggy hole, I'm digging a hole. Thank you all for watching. It has been a very fun one, adding in these little details and increasing the realism of our forest. I think it's improved it tenfold just through those little details that we've added in. Next time we are going back to our factory project, as I've worked out the little bits that we need for that, and I have a little bit more time as well, so I can actually make a farm, whereas these ones I was a little bit more tight for time, so it was just kind of a project that I wanted to start on, and then something that we can always come back to later. So thank you all for watching. If you've enjoyed, make sure to like, subscribe, and if you really don't want to miss anything, turn that notification bell on and then check your settings, because it still might not notify you as shown by some people. So thank you all for watching this. I will see you hopefully in the next one. Thank you all for watching, and goodbye. A lot of thanking going on there.